Well, welcome to yet another episode of the L&D Ninja. I am your host, Reggie Bedine, and I am so glad you're able to join me today because today we're gonna go deep into a conversation about technology and how digital transformation is just changing the scope in the landscape of business today and how it affects people like you and I who are in the L&D space. So you want to stay tuned because you're going to get a lot out of this podcast, and you're going to love my guest today. My guest, Teebu Philip, is, if I can compare Teebu to anybody, would be like Russell Crowe from The Beautiful Mind, that movie, because this guy has without all the craziness, though. I'm sorry, Teebu. but
maybe with the craziness.
but Teebu reminds me of Russell Crowe in the Beautiful Mind because he has a photographic memory. A brilliant dude. He and I worked together for a few years when in telecommunications, and I remember the first time I met Teebu. He was walking around. He took a couple. I think he took one of my classes, and somebody came to Teebu and said, "Hey, Teebu, I'm looking for XYZ," and he, just went down the list and said, "You got to look in this server, in this file," and he was not looking at anything. Just everything was in his head. So I was totally impressed with Teebu. Not only is he a brilliant guy, he's just a great dude. And I am so happy that he's able to join me on the podcast today. So Teebu has moved on. He's been all over the place doing some great work. Right now he's working as the director of cloud practice for, is it Svitla?
Svitla
Systems. It's a global solutions company with offices in the United States, Canada, the Ukraine. We got to talk about that a little bit.
Yes, definitely. We're going to talk about that.
Poland, Germany, Mexico, Costa Rica, Argentina, and India. This guy they're working on a global scale here. And I am so thrilled that you said yes to my invitation, Teebu. So welcome. Tell us who you are, what you've been doing, and anything interesting that you want to start with.
Well, thank you, Reggie. I appreciate all those kind words. Definitely not the case, but I appreciate your kindness. And I do remember the times we had at our famous telecommunications company that and I will say that I've been in the industry 22 years, and I've had a lot of training courses. I worked in telecom, I worked in hosting, I worked in retail. So you're probably the best instructor I've ever had, and you really understand L&D, and that's why I was happy to come on this podcast, because you showed me your tool, and I'm thoroughly impressed by it, and I can't wait to discuss it further.
Thank you.
And I appreciate that. So, but a little bit about myself. Obviously, I worked I'm IT professional for 22 years. Currently lead solution architect, director of cloud practice at Svitla Systems, global solutions provider, offices in the United States, Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, Argentina, soon to be Argentina, India, and of course, Poland and Ukraine. Now, obviously, the company's based out of Ukraine. Our CEOs, Natalia Anand, SVP Mark DeMeo. Obviously, you remember him from our telecommunications days.
I remembered.
Obviously, we have over 850 professionals working at over 250 clients. A lot of people in the Ukraine. So obviously, the war has affected us tremendously. But great leadership by Natalia and Mark figured out that the best way to do it is we have offices in Kharkiv, one of the war zones, Kiev, and Lviv. We moved a lot of those people out to the western side, or basically get a lot of people out of the country. We're still servicing our clients. Our clients, thankfully, are still with us, and they understand. They love. Listen, if our people weren't good and they weren't doing a good job for them, they wouldn't be so willing to work with us. So it's a credit to.
It's got to be.
It's a credit. No, it's really tough because I'm on calls with them in the morning. Hey, can we drop for 5 minutes? The internet's going to go down, or hey, it's 10 o'clock. the curfew is going to hit. We got to wrap
Yeah.
this up. It's so I can't. The my admiration for some of the people that I'm working with is it's through the roof. I cannot imagine you're keeping a job while a war is going on around you,
Bombs are
and not
dropping.
just the
Yeah.
ones. No, no, not just the ones that are in the. And think about the ones that are in they're supposedly safe on the western side of the country. You have a whole influx of people moved over there, right? So just daily living is completely, you know, stifled, right?
Yeah.
Long lines at a grocery store, gas, people, this is it's
Have you guys lost anybody? I mean,
no, we've
oh,
had numerous
that's good.
people join the army.
Oh,
So it's like,
it's almost a
I'm
must right
working on,
now.
yeah, I know, we're working on a project for a large company, and we built a team of 9 very talented engineers. 2 of them, they felt compelled to go into the army.
Sure.
I mean, they just volunteered, and hey, we salute you, we support your
Yeah.
efforts, and I mean, obviously the company's still paying them, so
Wow.
it is a
That's great.
it is a tremendous undertaking. The like our It's a privately owned woman owned company. Our leader is doing a tremendous job, trying to make sure that, obviously trying to run a business, but
Sure.
also support the country, support the people. So I have nothing but admiration for
Yeah.
everyone.
Yeah. That's a tough situation, and listen, my thoughts and prayers go to people of Ukraine. I know a lot of people join me in those
Yeah,
sentiments, and it's not easy, right? I mean, but it also points to the fact of how much of a global community we've become, right? And a
absolutely.
global and a
I
global
mean,
economy, right? I mean, every
no doubt.
years in the past, this one have been affecting people on this side, but now it is, right?
It
It's
definitely is. Obviously, now with the way communications are, IT is now global. You have remote workers, you have, obviously, like, offshore workers.
yeah,
It's, the and the amount of communication, the interaction between people, it's all one now.
yeah.
So, like, obviously, when, like, something like this happened, I remember 20 years ago, Russia invaded Chechnya. Nobody cared. There are no pictures of it. It has no
Yeah,
impact.
yeah.
Now it has an impact,
It
and
has an impact.
we see the world rebelling in a I think in a thoughtful way
Yeah,
against Russia,
yeah.
not in a knee-jerk way. So
Right.
I don't want to get
Yeah,
on a political soapbox here. So, but
yeah. No, no. But it's relevant, and it's important because again, these things do affect all of us, right? Whether we like to admit
absolutely.
it or not. Let me ask you this: what sort of products do you or services does your company provide out there
Our
to?
our company provides a whole range of services and solutions to clients, whether they're startups, whether they're enterprise, whether they're legacy businesses. We can provide development services, testing services, product management, project management, um, testing. We can build your product. We can maintain your product. You know, uh, uh, Not just in the latest technologies, legacy technologies as well. So, like, that's why Svitla is distinctly positioned uh, to help usher in, bring companies into the digital transformation. Startups have to
I
do
was
that
going to
anyway.
ask you about that. I mean, because you can't turn a page or watch anything on television without this whole, and it seems like it's on steroids now, right? This
Of
whole
course.
digital transformation. And the reason why I was interested in this is because sometimes, L&D, we tend to lag behind. um, and so what can you tell this audience, what is digital transformation? What does that mean, and why should we care?
Sure. I'll try to answer it, but I'll answer it, like, really from an inside, like a core, and we'll try to peel it,
That's fine.
but we'll start from the very inside, right? And the heart is IT, right? Because generally a lot of businesses, they run on IT. They need IT to deliver products, or deliver services or whatever, or manage orders or things like that. So in essence, your digital transformation really, it kind of boils down, your IT digital transformation boils down into four distinct items, right? Traditionally, companies have worked, in a sort of a waterfall methodology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where, people say, okay, we need to get a project. There's a big capital investiture. Hey, we need to figure out what the biggest server thing that we need to do. We need to rack it. We need to get the networking in place. Then we write our code, and then we hope customers come to our product and we buy it and we sell it, right?
Yeah.
And you're always scaling for your capacity, or what you think your capacity is. Sure. Now, it's a guess. So maybe you got it right.
Yeah.
Maybe you got it wrong. That in kind of maybe a good way is you over capacity.
Sure.
And that server sitting idle at 10% for 360 days in a year, 24/7. Okay, that's great. Or the set of servers, or that rack, or whatever you need.
Right.
But maybe you get it wrong badly.
Yeah.
And you're down. And your site sucks.
And things are crashing.
Slow, and things are crashing. And people are screaming. And people are upset. And there's a little bit of chaos going on. So
sure.
So really think of digital transformation as, from an IT perspective, in really four ways. And we at Svitla look at it in four ways, right? Okay. Migration, application modernization, data and analytics, and DevOps. And I'm going to take you through all four. Sure. And why you need to do that, right? And I'm going to use a legacy company. I'm trying to use this example like throughout, right? Let's say your legacy company, you've kind of been doing well for a while, but maybe you're falling behind. You're not sure. You're CEO of this company. You're hey,
right.
I'm concerned.
Which is very easy nowadays, right?
Exactly.
To fall behind. Yeah.
Listen, I don't want to be Blockbuster. I don't ever want to be Blockbuster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do I need to do to not be Blockbuster? Well, like from an IT perspective, it's kind of simple, right? Four things: migration, application modernization, data analytics, DevOps. Migration. What does that mean? You got to migrate your applications into the cloud. Now, some places need to be in a hybrid mode where they have some on premise.
Sure.
And some in the cloud. Some need to be completely in the cloud. There's no requirements for privacy. There's no security. There's no governmental requirements. Therefore, you don't need that hardware.
Right.
In like on-prem.
Sure.
Right.
Which by the way, that's the way a lot of learning management systems were originally. You hosted everything. Right? You built it, you hosted, and now everything is on the cloud.
I know. So in some ways, it's so much better. It's so much better on the IT staff. It's so much better for basically the power users and the end users, right? I mean, you're not running after some IT guy who's got 400 other things and tickets to deal with, and and this is probably not urgent unless some vice president comes over,
right,
and starts screaming. So it's so much better.
That doesn't happen, does it?
That doesn't happen hardly ever. I've never.
We haven't experienced that.
I've never experienced that. So
I've heard you scream, but I haven't.
Oh yeah. The telecom to be nameless at this point. I used to do that a lot. So
let's just say it, man. It's Trek from Wireless. They got acquired by Verizon. They're like rolling in money.
They did an amazing job.
Those investors out of Mexico made like bandits.
Yes, I mean, hey, they did from where they came.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
And from the time I was there, 2007 to 2013. I mean, I was there longer, but from 2007 to 2013, they went from 6 million subs to 26 million subs. That's a 3.5
By the way, subscribers.
subscribers. So sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Listen, you,
No, no.
yeah, yeah, no, but that was, yeah, it was crazy. I remember,
It was crazy days, crazy
and you
nights.
guys were like patching stuff together. That's what I, that's what I
Oh,
remember,
every day
right? I
was a
mean,
patch. Every day was a patch. Every
yeah,
day was a patch. But
yeah,
you know,
but that's what you're talking
3.5.
about, right? That's what
Yeah.
you mean.
When you go, when you get 3.5 million subscribers,
Yeah,
right? You can't, how do you manage that? You
yeah,
can't, you're not expecting that. The volume, the traffic, the things, it's impossible, right? So
sure,
think about it, right? You're on prem. Think about it. I'm going to take you to the first step. You're on prem.
yeah,
Holy crap. I need to go buy a big server. I need to go buy lots of big servers.
yeah, yeah.
And I need to rack up. Do you know how long that takes?
Well,
You know how long that takes?
Truckle
From
had
basically
a data center, right? I mean, they had a
data
whole,
center, yeah, but still, from procurement to basically turning on that server to IPing it to getting the software onto it and getting your applications onto it and testing it and getting it working and being alive to customers,
yeah,
my God, 3 to 4 months.
yeah, yeah,
3 to 4 months.
yeah,
That's one server.
yeah,
One.
yeah,
It's crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy. I can go to a cloud, I could click a few buttons, and in 5 minutes, I got a server up.
That's amazing.
You have, like, listen, there can't be a business where you don't have to run to the cloud, right? You just can't, right? There's just no way. If you're a startup, you should be in the cloud. If you're a legacy company, you need
Oh,
to extend your
yeah,
data. If you can't get rid of it, you need to extend your data center to the cloud. If you're an enterprise, you have to have a cloud presence. You have to. There's no
yeah,
way around it. Svitla is an AWS Select partner. So Svitla can help you take your data center, take your co-location center, and get you into AWS and get you into a much better situation.
and listen, and it makes things so much, especially if you're starting up, if you're an entrepreneur. Listen, I remember thinking about starting my business back in 2008, and one of the reasons why it was almost impossible, well, the technology was just crazy. I mean, it was like, $500,000 to build a learning management system. And I know in some cases it's still the case. Uh, but the amount of money we had to spend on servers, and
Is
the
impossible.
support for those servers, it was outrageously expensive. And so that's why,
You made a great point there, Reg. You could buy a server, but if you don't have a body
yeah, you need to.
who's assigned to it,
Yeah, and by the way, and you know this, you're in the space. How easy is it to keep your employees, your IT employees nowadays, with all the poaching going on, and
exactly.
the
People are going left,
bonuses
right, and
flying
center.
left and right?
I know
I'm
people
definitely in the wrong business, by the way. I've told you this before. I should have been as smart as you.
I think you're smarter than me, Reggie. Let's
Yeah,
put it that way. So I put it this way, right? If you're not in the cloud, you're not going to go anywhere, right? Because
yeah,
just think about it. You got to have that person
yeah,
on call 24/7, 365. Because it's hardware. It's a mechanical device.
hmm it's gonna break.
It's going to break. You
It's gonna
exactly
break.
right. It's going to
Yeah,
break.
yeah,
Mechanical devices break.
yeah.
I
Have,
don't care. I don't
have you,
care how much you spend on it. I don't care how much support you spend on it. Guaranteed to break.
yeah.
Guaranteed. So
Now
you
let me ask you this, because I think that.
that's why going to the cloud is much better, right? Hey, think of it. It's a computer in somebody else's data center.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
hey, it's that guy's responsibility when it breaks to make sure that you're still running and you get a service credit. Now, you have to architect it in such a way that you've got reliability, failover, those kind of things.
right.
And if you do that, then you should have no impact.
What about issues of infosec, right? And because I think that
Absolutely.
in a lot of the conversations that I've had with, as you know, our solution is cloud based, and
Yes.
and um, and I've had this, conversations with potential clients who say, no, we just want to host it ourselves, right? And I try to make the points not as articulate as you do it, um, but of why the benefits, right? To even to the end user, the
Yeah.
benefits of going, being cloud based.
No,
But
no, yeah, great
the
point.
the
These are,
question becomes always, we've heard of all these, data leaks and the hackers that are out there, trying to
yeah,
sabotage our. What do you? I mean, what have you seen in that?
absolutely. So, like, let's say you host an application on-prem, right? Now, pretty much, you know, if somebody breaks into your data center and breaks in, like we're not talking so much physical
No,
break
no,
in,
right.
but we're talking about information break in.
You
Now,
mean like
you're
the guys that used to sit in the parking lot from time to time trying to hack into? Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So, I mean, so I'm saying you're responsible as your company.
Mm-hmm.
You're responsible for that. And let's say, and especially like an L&D application, there may be some sensitive information there. You're doing proprietary learning,
Yeah,
proprietary things.
yeah.
You can't let this out, right?
Right,
So it's very important, right? So it's so much more. I mean, AWS and all the clouds are all secure from a physical entry standpoint and a
sure.
regular entry standpoint, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can extend your data center, only allow the cloud to be seen inside your. I mean, there's so many ways to keep that security model in place
Right.
that makes it much more secure and much more easier and safer to run in the cloud than it is on prem.
Yeah.
And I'll just take it back here for a second. So, like, uh, it's also much more cost effective because your expenses move from large upfront capital expenditures into basically
Right.
lower cost operational expenditures, right? And an
Amen. So you,
enterprise, and an enterprise especially, that's very important,
of course, it
right?
frees up so much cash that you can do other stuff with it, right? I
Do
mean,
project-based things that will grow your business,
right, right,
right?
right,
And I'll come back to that, right? So the first part of IT digital transformation is basically a migration to the cloud, right?
right.
The second part is really application modernization. And what does that mean? Typically, you're on-prem. You may, because you're on-prem, you may be a little bit behind. Your application is kind of a little bit old. You're maybe not up to date on all the
Right.
modern cloud native ways to run applications, right?
Sure.
That's where Svitla is like a master. Like, of all the four aspects, this is the bread and butter of Svitla, right? Application modernization, obviously running in Kubernetes, Dockerizing your environment so your developers can run your entire stack on their desktop,
Mm-hmm.
fix code right away. Back in the old days, here's what would happen. I'm a developer. I write code on my desk. I really
Yeah.
can't test it.
Yeah.
I hope it works. I look
Yeah.
at it. I see, okay, I submit it. Somebody reviews it. Okay,
Right.
that looks good. Boom. We submit it. A build gets done. It gets deployed in production. Both of us missed like the key point and we got a bug, right? And typically what happens is there's only like 2 or 3 windows for these deployments. So a bunch of people put a bunch of stuff together and they
Right.
deployed in our test environment. Now we're ready to test. The first guy comes, dude, what's going on? This thing is broken
Right.
right away.
I
And
remember those
now
conversations with you guys.
like, oh my God. That's so obviously you're running back to your desk. So obviously now here's what happened. We just lost an hour
Yeah.
of testing time during the day.
Yeah.
Think about it. This tester now, who was supposed to be testing for an hour, is sitting on his hands waiting, probably going to the cafeteria to a cafecito and,
Yeah.
wasting time, not doing anything productive.
Well, they
This
can, right?
developer,
Yeah.
well, exactly. The developer who was supposed to be working on the next project or next thing that he's supposed to get on is now not doing that. He's now trying to fix this bug, which
Yeah.
maybe should have been caught if he could have worked on his desktop. Like, literally, right? I mean, it's not his fault. People make mistakes.
Sure. Sure.
It is a function of the business. There are no perfect software.
Right.
There's nothing. Don't even think of it.
Well,
Well, actually,
I'm
outside of
joking.
that, of course. No.
We strive for perfection,
We
but
strive for perfection, but of course, all this stuff happens.
nothing's ever perfect. You
Nothing's
always,
ever. It's always an improvement.
yeah, of
But in
course.
this case, right here, like, listen, naturally, people make mistakes. It happens. It's just the way it is. And it may have been a simple mistake. The guy who reviewed it, hey, he's doing three other things. He's trying to, hey, looks good. Bang, go. The guy who makes the build, he can't. He's got 17 different submissions that are. There's no way he can review everything, right?
Starts piling up.
It's piling up.
Slowing it down.
Exactly.
Bottleneck.
It's a bottleneck. Exactly. It's a
Yeah.
bottleneck, right?
Yeah.
So how in the world, right? So think about it. If I could get that developer to do work on his desktop, have the whole stack, fix this bug, bang, I deploy that in the 17 other changes that go in. That tester is working, and in 1 hour, he's verified all 17. We've got something that goes out tomorrow. We've delivered to the customer. We've delivered to this thing.
And did you guys develop that tool that allows
No. But these are standard industry tools. But a lot of companies don't know how to use it. That's where you come in and use Svitla, because obviously we've got engineers.
Sure.
We built practice around application modernization, and not just the development tools around it. A lot of people have old legacy code that they wrote 15, 20 years ago that, hey, don't touch it. It runs, nobody knows how to listen. I know, we've been there.
Yeah.
Well, a place like TrackPhone has a lot of legacy code, but
it
works. But it worked. But the thing is, right?
I've never seen so many people pray all the time, though, even though they were not religious.
They were not religious.
Please, don't let anything break. But that's
a long time ago.
No, of course. I mean, Verizon wouldn't have
bought the company. Of course,
right. So they got it right. And by the way, I credit you for getting TrackPhone to that point. By the way.
Thank you. Just so many people. They did a great job there. And I'll just tell you a quick story. A long time ago in Galaxy far, far away, somebody you've obviously, you follow football, and you've obviously heard of the football player Tebow, and back in the day when he was very popular for the Denver Broncos, he would do this all the time, right? So, and obviously Tebow. So one day somebody came to my cube as a project manager and tried to get his project done, and he just got, please do something, get this work. And my boss took a picture of it. Tebowing at Teebu's desk. So no, but I mean that happens, right?
Yeah.
Right, you've got to change your legacy code as time goes by, right? And Svitla is a master of that, right? And not just moving the code, right? Like you got to move into the new languages. You got to move into TypeScript. You got to move into use the modern tools.
And that's what I was going to get at, Teebu, because how do you keep up? I mean, how does a company keep up? I mean, that's where I think your services, because you guys worry about all of that, right?
Absolutely.
We worry about what we envision delivering to the end user. Exactly. And you guys help translate that into a modern language, because it's almost impossible to keep up with the changes. And now I think it's in the years to come, it's going to be even
it's going to grow. Right? It's going to be
I mean, it's not worse, and it's going to be better.
It's going to be better, but you're going to have to, like, a long time ago they used to say in engineering, hey, be ready for constant learning. Because what you learn, which is great for you, and which makes sense, because you really, especially in this industry, everything changes every 3 or 5 years. Before it was every 10 years. Now it's like literally every 3 years. That is completely different. I remember when we were at TrackPhone Wireless, 2013, the height, 26 million subs.
I was there, by the way.
You were there, and hey, you were a big part of it, dude, because like your training took that company to another level.
Well, thank you. It was fun.
No, I'm not
very
joking.
Smart people. I mean, very hardworking
people, smart people, no doubt about it. But like, that was just when AWS was trying to get their footprint. They were already out. A lot of companies were going there, but they weren't there.
Yeah.
Right. It's 2022. If you're not on AWS or you're not on a cloud, my God, you're hopelessly behind.
But by the way, for people who are watching this, they're not sponsoring this podcast, by the way. So
Definitely not. Definitely
it's not like we're pushing for it, but it makes sense. We host our solution on AWS. We have for many years, and we've never had any issues. I mean, it's never crashed. We've never had any security issues. I mean, it's been good.
Listen, the power of AWS has
Boy,
many.
they're making a lot of money though.
I know, dude. I know.
Why didn't we think of that, Teebu? Why
Uh,
we?
actually, we were listen in 2000 and 2006.
Yeah.
I worked for a company called Affinity Internet before AWS. We called it hosting. We had a platform. If listen, our investors need to get their money out. If they could have just
Yeah,
kept
if
it
they
going,
could.
who knows what could have happened, right?
Sheesh.
And then you know
Yeah.
what? And I think a lot of times I think about TrackPhone. Congratulations,
Yeah.
great sale to Verizon. So much money, but man, if and
Did,
I'll get into this.
did you
I
notice that
think
Carlos Slim is back on the list of most
I can imagine,
richest people? He
of
made it back.
course.
Yeah.
I go with that. I'll get, and I want to get back to track phone in a second here, but
Yeah.
let me finish what I was saying about. So application modernization is like the second peg of this four-pronged journey. The third part is data analytics, right?
Sure.
Now you've gone to the cloud, you've understood, you've brought your applications that run your business to the modern level. You need to understand your data. You need to bring your data into the cloud. You need to use QuickSight. You need to run your BI. You need to get your intelligence, and also you need to get into machine learning and AI to get that true understanding and insight in
Yeah.
your customer, right? Because really, that's the secondary differentiator, right? If you can get that true insight on your customer, and you know where they're coming from, and you know how they're going to spend their money, and you know what they want to spend their money on,
Right.
you can drive and build toward that, right?
Right. Right.
And that's the only way you're going to make it,
It
right?
takes
So
the
it's
guesswork out of it, right? I mean,
yes, you want to be a data driven business. If you want to be a data driven business, you have to make standardized reports,
yes.
meaningful reports, and then you have to get insights,
Yes.
true insights that come from machine learning and AI, and AWS is the perfect platform for that, right? And that, I'm telling you, if you tried to do that on prem, we're talking millions of dollars of just hardware.
Yeah. And then the people. And
And
then
then the
the right.
people,
I
and
mean,
then the tooling.
yeah.
It's an incredible cost. It's an incredible cost.
Yeah.
And that cost becomes an operational cost for you now, right? And you can get started so much faster,
Yeah.
right?
No,
So
go ahead.
that is why data and analytics is a differentiator, right? Because if you don't understand where your data is, you don't understand how your customers are using it, and you don't make good insights,
You're flying blind.
you're blind.
Yeah.
You are exactly right. You are
Yeah.
flying blind. So
Yeah.
you have to have this piece.
Yeah.
You have to have this piece.
And for it, by the way, just to because great conversation, but I want to bring it back to sort of why that is applicable to people in the L&D space. It's the same thing for us, right? It's not when we're trying to develop people and really create cultures of learning. It has to be that data driven, right? It's not, it
Exactly.
annoys the heck out of me when, well, I feel like I had a conversation to you not too long ago with a senior leader who said, "Well, I feel like learning and development is not hitting the mark." Well, what does that mean? What does I feel,
How
right?
does it? How do you
Because
know? How do you know?
I'm running reports, I'm running pulse surveys, I'm looking at the how the business is performing. I'm looking at all those metrics, and every single one of them is telling me that it's not a learning and development issue, right? And so that's where I think a lot of people, that I feel and I think, and no, you have to look if you want to really be effective at what you do, whether it's L&D or anything else out there. You have to be data driven. You have to look at
You
the
have to
numbers,
be.
and this is where I'm sure it's the same thing for you. For me, it's an art and a science, right? I love the art part, which is this. We're doing a podcast. We do web things. We do instructional design. We do. I mean, that's the art part. But all of that has to be driven by what are we trying to accomplish? Where are the gaps, and what are we trying? How are we going to fix that? And this is where the science and looking at the data
Exactly.
really makes sense.
Exactly. So you're exactly right,
Yeah,
Reggie. Reggie, the key is you got to get out of I feel
it drives me
into
nuts.
I see. I see.
Absolutely, absolutely,
I see it
absolutely.
on the data. I see it
Yes.
in this report. I see it in this insight. Bang.
Yeah, I
And
see
that's
it in the
all.
numbers. I see it in the
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. And that's what data and analytics gives you. And the CTO Svitla is a man by the name of Andre Alchemets. He is a industry certified expert in the field, and he can help you on that journey. And finally, Reggie, I just want to quickly get to this point about DevOps. Now let's say you've done all these things,
yeah,
right? From an IT perspective, the goal is to go fast.
yeah, yeah,
You need
yeah,
to make this is a modern hey, the
yeah,
days of 6 month cycles and my customer waiting 6 months for my release where I can bundle 400 features and no, that customer wants his one feature
yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah,
Tomorrow. Not tomorrow. You know what? Not even tomorrow. I need it in 12 hours.
yeah,
Okay. Because I got my offshore team working and they can test it and I can listen, those days are gone.
yeah,
You've got to get from idea, concept, design, inception, coding, out the door, testing, out the door, like that.
yeah,
The only way you do that, the only way you do
yeah,
that is with DevOps.
yeah.
The
And
only
otherwise, you can't compete.
you can't
You
compete.
can't compete.
You have to have a procedure and a structure in place so that developer can turn his fix around and it goes to production ASAP. You've tested it,
Yeah,
automated, automatically as part of your build process. It gets pushed in automatically. You can do A/B controlled testing, controlled deployments where you understand, hey, it's only on 10% of our servers.
yeah,
We can monitor if we see everything is good, it automatically moves it. So people are not touching things.
yeah,
And people touch things. People touch things, stuff breaks. It
yeah,
happens.
yeah.
Listen, there's a famous story. There's a famous story. I know we'll run a little bit over. Famous story here. Long time ago, Galaxy far, far away when I worked at Track Wireless, there was a night. It was a very long day. We had a very long day. And we basically decided, okay, we're going to turn the rest of our servers on at midnight once the traffic dies down. Well, I had been going literally from 6 a.m. to like 8:30 p.m. And I had just about had it.
You're fried.
I am fried mentally, physically, emotionally. I may have had a beverage or two by that point at my house. And I'm sitting there at my house and I'm like, I just can't, I'm not going to wait till 12 o'clock.
Yeah, yeah,
Right when the call center's still open, right when, right when, like, because typically in the days we had two peaks, right? Three,
yeah,
we had actually three peaks during the day, like 8 a.m., 3 p.m., 9 p.m., right? And I couldn't wait. I just couldn't take it anymore. I like, I know I told everybody 12 o'clock, but screw this. I'm turning this stuff right on. I'm going to do you kind of know what happened. You can
yeah,
kind of imagine what happened.
yeah.
15 minutes later, I am face down on my keyboard, sleeping. the, phone, the phone is like right next to me. The phone is right. Luckily, I had a very junior employee who's now like a very senior employee at a company called
Yeah.
Domino Engineering and
I
stuff like
think I know him.
that. Miguel Harmat,
Yeah.
great. He's going to be rich. He called me and he said, "Hey, did you turn on stuff?" Oh yeah, of course. I know what I'm doing. I don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about it. Everything is down. What do you mean everything is down? Everything is down.
Jeez.
All the alerts are going off. I can't believe that. Let me check.
Oh.
Miguel, what server is this stuff running on again? I don't remember. Teebu, how long have you been working till? Oh, don't worry about it. I've done it a long day. Don't worry about it. Teebu, just yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it. Give me like, if I'll call you if I need something from you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check up on you in about 15 minutes. Like 15 minutes. I head down again, right?
Yeah.
3 hours later, I wake up.
What?
This old style computers, like someone they just like.
Have you watched the series? I think it's canceled now, but Silicon Valley.
Somebody told me about it.
You gotta watch it, man, because these stories sound like they're coming straight out of, or it looks like whatever they did. I mean,
really coming out of trial.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
yeah.
Luckily, he was smart. Yeah, he took care of it. So and then so I had naturally woken up at 12:15, and he did. He turned it on, made sure everything's right. But like I said, right? People touch things.
Yeah,
stuff breaks.
Yeah,
I touch stuff and stuff breaks. Right?
Yeah,
naturally.
I know.
Right? So there's a dev. I've heard. You've heard.
I've heard.
No. So DevOps. So technically, DevOps is the best. So like, there's 4 stages. You have to go through the 4 stages. Svitla can take you through that.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely sounds to me, and of course, I'm not as involved as you are in the technology side. I'm an educator, and so it sounds like it like a no-brainer, and so it's not the future, it's the present. If you're thinking that this is something that you can put off to the future, you're gonna have a rude awakening. And there's a lot of businesses. I mean, there's a lot of businesses today who just can't. It's a rude awakening. All of a sudden.
Oh, you're exactly right.
It dries up and you're done.
Companies are coming to us, right? Hey, they're falling behind.
Yeah, and the longer you wait, the more expensive it becomes, right? I mean, number one, because of the revenue you're not generating, and number two, you're having to
do it much faster and do it. You have to pay catch up.
Yeah.
And really, what drives that? What drives that? Customers.
Yeah.
Customer engagement, customer stickiness. And what do you need for that? Innovation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to have innovation.
The big word.
Yeah.
Innovation.
And you know what? It's straightforward. How do you innovate? How? Okay. I get it, right? Okay, let's say I go back to that example I gave you. Somebody comes in, CEO, right? 250 stable business, but they're a little bit falling behind. Okay. Yeah. He's done it. Now he's at this place and oh my God, what's going on here? Okay. Wow. How do I take these 250 people who've been doing the same thing for a while?
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of friction between some of these people.
Yeah.
How do I do this? Okay. All right. You know what? The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to find the 25 or so people in the middle management realm and senior leadership that aren't on board. Okay. I get rid of those. Okay, great. And I bring in 10 of my people.
Sure. Yeah.
And I empower them.
They're sold on the vision. They know.
Right? They know. They understand my vision. They understand what I want to do. Right. Great. Okay, great. Okay, great. What's the next thing I can do? Okay. All right. I'm going to cut the bottom 5%. This place is backwards. These are the defined as the worst employees we have. Of course, I'm going to cut it because now I've just opened up possibly 50 headcount.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get a bunch of young guys who know all the technology, know everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to have? Chaos because they don't know.
Yeah. They're
rookies. They don't know what to do. They don't know how your company works. They don't know how your company makes money.
They've never worked with anybody else.
Never worked with anybody else.
Yeah. And those of us in L&D, I mean, we run into that all the time. I mean,
so now, okay, I've done this. Now, wait a second. I got this 175 people. I don't know what I'm going to do with. Okay, wait a second. I'm going to replace them all. Dude, Okay, how are you going to do that in 1 year? Your business is going to go chaos. That's not
and
possible.
and in this type of market.
You know, in this kind of market, how much
Yeah,
money, how much time is it going to take? How much money is it going to cost?
yeah,
Not going to happen. Okay, I'm going to replace him out in 3 years. Okay,
yeah.
you're going to go 2 years and you'll be fired.
Right, right.
Okay. Oh my God. What do you do?
It,
There's only one thing you can do. There's only one thing you can do. You
and that
got to
is,
reskill them,
yeah, and
right?
you,
How do you,
yeah, I
how?
knew exactly where you're going with it because that's again, in my experience at Trackphone, well, in the last 15 years, it doesn't matter the industry, whether it's retail. I've worked in retail, telecom, and professional services. I mean, learning and development is the key. I mean, I hate to break it to all the marketing and salespeople and
It,
operations people, but
no, it
if you
is,
don't have
no.
if you don't have it's a mindset, it's a culture, it's it's the speed of the learning, it's the how often it happens. I mean, it truly is, and you've seen it. I mean, and look, I credit you, Teebu, because again, and I don't, I really mean this. No, if, for those of you who don't know, Teebu was too smart for a PhD program at Duke. He said, "Yeah, forget this. I'm not gonna be writing the papers for my professors." Um, but you were humble enough to understand that you needed to reskill and retool
Of course, I
on the
had to
people
reskill.
side, and so go ahead.
No, listen, the first thing they teach you in engineering, one of the first things they teach you, keep it simple, stupid, and it's constant learning,
Yeah,
right? It's constant learning.
but
Now
people
you
forget
get in,
that.
yeah,
People,
no. People forget that. And no, and then you
yeah,
get in, oh, it's all about technology. It's all about technology. Technology solves everything. No, it doesn't.
yeah,
Technology solves nothing. People, process, the procedures,
yeah,
right? Education, right? Because listen, if 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 people, business is about people, the technology is
yeah.
there to basically
It's a
help you,
tool.
is the tool to
Yeah,
get your business there. Now, the key point here is, like, if you're in if you're in IT and you're in business, you have to obviously constantly reskill yourself. If
yes,
you're not reskilling yourself, you're falling behind.
yes,
You got to. I had to retrain myself. The things I learned 20 years ago, nobody cares. That's a
nope,
given. That's a given. It's a given, right? You have to retrain yourself. You have to reskill your people. Now go back to that example. You got these 175 people. They've got to come. They've got to get reskilled. They got to get reskilled quickly. And now all of a sudden, right? I remember when I was a track runner, and I'll quickly go into, people are remote. People are not in the office. You got to touch them where they are,
yes,
right? And you have to have a SaaS tool to do that, right? You
yes.
have to, and you have that. And this is why I like your tool so much, Reggie. I'll be honest with you. If
Thank you.
if we had your tool at TrackPhone, I can't imagine, because you could only touch so many people in a
Yeah,
day,
yeah,
right? You could only touch so many people in a day. And at the time, we had to be on-prem. How in the world, and when I took your training course, people were waiting outside to come inside to see me
yeah. It was
to
always
get crazy stuff out of me.
yeah,
Impossible.
yeah. That's why I locked the doors, by the way,
I know.
in those
Look,
closets.
thank God. I love that. I'm so happy. I was so happy.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And by the way, we did have we did have an earlier version of the tool today, but it was more on just learning, right? And so it was pushing, it was the traditional LMS, which now what I because of what you just said, you have to touch people and you have to find a way to connect people where they are, whether they're on premise or whether they're remote. And that's why social learning is such a big anchor of Expand TMS. I wanted to not only give people the opportunity to consume the learning, but also exchange those ideas without having to log in and out of that, multiple tools in order to do that, right?
Oh
And
my
so,
God. You net hit the nail on the head. 2013, 26 million subs. I run customer facing applications. I run the vendor face. I run basically the interface to the carriers. I have 23 people underneath me. I have access to production. I have access to database. I'm the only person who could literally get credit cards out of the database,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And you're asking me to log into 6 different tools to do
yeah,
stuff. Come
yeah,
on.
yeah. It's
I listen, my day is like I'm a rodeo rider on a bull.
sure.
And you're asking me to go log into this tool to fill my goals out, log into this
Yep.
tool to to check my compliance or did it do everything right,
Right.
log into this tool to it's the internet.
And then for the admins, it's the same way, especially
Oh
if you have
yes.
multiple people running all. So if you have the same person trying to run all of these systems, it's a nightmare. And those of
It's
you
a
in
nightmare.
L&D, you know that. And then if you have multiple people running, then you got to make sure that your team is solid, because things will fall through the cracks, right? And
Listen,
if there's silos, and you've
listen,
seen this before, it's going to be
silos
hard.
is impossible, right? Like even within a working functional team, if people are managing different tools, are they going to consciously talk about, okay, this thing needs that, this thing? No, they got day-to-day things. They got to do it.
Yeah.
That's what I like about your tool.
Well,
Like
thank you.
all in one,
And by the way,
all in
I
one.
didn't pay you, right? Let's
No, of
disclaimer.
course
I
not.
didn't pay
Definitely
you to
not.
do this. I mean,
I'm
I
still
wanted
waiting.
to.
I'm still waiting for certain payments from the past life, you know.
That's a good one. I got it. I got you. But the reality is that and by the way, nothing against engineers. I know that you're an engineer. Sometimes the problem with, at least with on the L&D side, is that a lot of these tools are created by engineers and not real
Not for
practitioners.
people, not for
And so
practitioners.
then they have all the bells and whistles, and they're very, very good tools, but nobody
Uh,
understands them and
no,
nobody likes them, right?
no, exactly. Your tool,
Yeah,
I give you so much credit. Like I literally went in there, and in 1 minute, I could admin the whole thing.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
I I don't have to read. I didn't have to read a
No,
book. I didn't have to do anything. I just bang.
yeah. If you
And
know
you know
social
what?
media and Netflix, that's on the user side.
Yeah,
You're good. That's all
yeah.
you. That's
On
all
the
you
user
need.
side, you don't even know.
Yeah.
And listen, listen. In a galaxy far, far away, I've heard of a tool called Moodle, which is the
Yeah.
default standard in the
Yeah.
LMS
It's
world.
open source. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's engineered, right?
It's a
It's
nightmare.
yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's a
Yeah,
nightmare.
and
I
then
can't
and
even.
then to deploy. So again,
Oh,
with a lot of
the
those,
second nightmare. The second
yeah,
nightmare.
and then to support,
The third
right?
nightmare. Oh my God.
So
The worst thing
so
ever. And I see the other thing is what I really like. And the other thing I like about your tool, and 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 I mean this really.
you're making me blush, by the way, because I did
Oh
not
God, I
expect you
that's the
to.
worst thing ever.
No,
I'm gonna say some bad things pretty soon then.
oh no.
No, seriously. Culture matters at a
Yes,
company, right? Culture definitely matters, right?
absolutely, 100%.
And typically, and sometimes culture just happens like because companies are moving so fast, people want to get things done. There's
Yeah,
going to be friction, right? It
of
happens, and
course.
then sometimes when there's friction, I don't want to deal with that guy. He's not a really nice person. I don't want to deal with him. And
Yeah,
he may be a nice person, but he's just stressed. He's got to get a lot of stuff done. Natural silos exist,
yeah,
right? And if silos exist, wow, you got a problem. You got to break down silos. Your tool, given the social media content, the social media angle of it,
sure.
allows for the breakdown of the silos
Yeah,
in organizations, right? And I go
that was
back
the
to
intent.
and I go back to the example, right? 250 people, you reskill these 175 people.
Yeah,
Think about it. I can reskill 175 people or fire them all and
Yeah.
rehire them.
Oof.
That's not possible,
No.
right?
No.
The cost of reskilling, breaking down silos, changing culture,
Yeah. And engagement, by the way.
and engagement,
Engagement. Because people,
employee engagement.
it's been
You're okay.
proven.
It's proven. Employee engagement leads to customer engagement, customer stickiness, customer satisfaction.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And
And
it's like your tool, if you could drop that tool into that environment,
yeah.
right, it would be a godsend.
Well, I
Because
hope a lot of I hope a lot of people listening to
I
your plug
go,
here
that would
and
be
do
no,
it.
but I'm serious. No, listen,
Listen,
you're CEO. You're
yeah.
CEO. You're trying to do this digital transformation.
Yes.
You've got a staff that's maybe older, maybe kind of set in their ways. Yeah, of course. Hey, can I fire? I want to fire every one of them. You can't.
You're a mean
You
boss, man.
can't.
You're
No, no, no. But I mean, no. Internally, that's what you're.
yeah,
Listen, that guy's
right.
thinking that right away. I would love to fire everybody,
Yeah.
hire a bunch of new people,
Yeah, yeah.
but you can't.
But then you'll have the same issues
You have
if you don't really address the root
in
cause.
2 years. In 2 years, you've had
Same
the same exact issue.
same issue. So that's listen. We've covered a lot. I think I think we're gonna have to do this again.
No problem.
This was amazing, and I think that the transformation that is taking place is awesome. I mean, I'm a geek, and so I love it. I can't wait for VR and AR and MR and the metaverse, to conduct learning in that space. But you know, like you said, it's really not about the technology. The technology is a tool and a vehicle to get us somewhere. It's really about people, and I think that what we need to focus on is go hand in hand. The technology and the people development, right? The
Exactly.
team development, the
You
culture of learning, the continuous feedback, the rewards and recognition, because we tend, we forget that we're dealing with people, with feelings and who like to be praised and like to be recognized and like to be
absolutely.
acknowledged, right? And so all of that it has to be part of the equation. If not, it's gonna be, it's gonna be I think a very cold and sad future.
Of course.
And then we've seen what technology, if we don't, if we don't mitigate that with something else, especially people development and relationships, it can really, cause more harm than good, right?
You're
We've seen
exactly
it,
right.
yeah. And so I really enjoyed this conversation, Teebu. I'm gonna bring you back again if you don't mind,
Problem.
and we're gonna put a link to your company if any of our listeners and viewers wants
Absolutely.
to reach out to you. Teebu is a great guy to talk to. Um, if as you saw probably here, he says it like it is. So you never have to guess. Okay, where's Steve coming from? He'll tell you exactly what he's thinking. But he's a genuine guy. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining me today. We'll circle back
Absolutely.
in the next couple of months. Thank you so much, and
Thank you.
to all our viewers, I hope you had look an enlightening day with this conversation. Look, technology is here to stay. It's going to be growing. The transformation has already begun, and it's going to really it's the present. I'm not even saying the future. It's the present. So for L&D professionals like you and I, we have a great opportunity to reskill and retool and create cultures of learning wherever we are at, in order to create a better work environment and hopefully, make things better for everybody. So see you next time. So long.